Good day everybody and welcome back. I'm continuing to go through the Unearthed Arcana revolving around the Eberron races. Just as a heads up, I'm not familiar with the Eberron setting because I've only ever played 5th edition and I never actually looked into the alternate settings such as Spelljammer, Eberron, Dark Sun, or those, so if I miss any lore or if I'm overlooking anything, then please forgive me and let me know below because I'd really like to know about that. So I'm up to shifters now. The shifters are pretty interesting, I'm not going to lie. They're sort of like this pseudo-lycanthrope type thing. I was a little bit worried when I first started reading the concept. Well, not worried, I was a little bit like, is this literally like anime catgirl type crap? But no, it's not. It's completely different. And I do like the distinction between those, although you could still play it in a very similar way if you did want to, so I'm glad that option does technically exist. So I actually think that the general design for the shifters are pretty cool. Like, just looking through things like the Eberron wiki and all that, all of the images, they look very bestial, but at the same time really humanoid. Like, you can definitely tell them apart from a normal human, but they don't look like completely like a beast. And I really like that fact. I think the designs are awesome, and I hope they carry through relatively well into 5th edition. So this is the first of the Eberron races that we have seen in Unearthed Arcana to actually have sub-races, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how those work. Their names are pretty interesting because they generally all have names revolving around either what they're like or their animals, so you've got things like Badger and Bear, but you've also got things like Moon and Grace and Raid and Red, so really interesting naming convention there. I want to see what people might do with that. Okay, so to start us off with, for their actual traits, their ability score improvement for the base race is just dexterity increases by 1. This is the only race that I am aware of that has a increase of 1 as their base race system, as opposed to, okay, so you get +2 from this, you get +2 from being this race, and then you go into your sub race, and then you get +1 to that. So it's interesting to see that sort of swapped around, and it makes sense here because, you know, there's a lot of different type of animals, but when you're comparing, say, a bear to a rabbit, they're not both going to have, you know, like immense strength or immense dexterity. So it makes sense to give the bigger increase to the subrace. Their ages, they're quick to mature, and they reach adulthood at age 10, and they live to about 70. So I do like that they've sort of scaled up how quickly animals age in comparison to humans, but at the same time they've kept them to a relatively similar sort of lifespan. That alignment tends towards neutrality, which I really like. I don't recall any races off the top of my head that tend towards sort of that neutral nature, chaotic neutral generally at worst. So it's pretty interesting to see that there. Their size ranges depending on their subrace, but they're all mediums. So they're anywhere from 5 to almost 7 feet, which is pretty nice. I do enjoy that disparity there, because it again plays into the fact that, oh hey, a bear and a rabbit are 2 different sizes, so they can't really, you know, be the same thing when it comes to height in that sense. Their base walking speed is 30 feet, that's pretty standard. They have dark vision, which again, it's sort of standard. I do like that so far they are the only race from the Eberron races that do have dark vision. So take that as you will. Keen senses, which is to be expected on any sort of bestial type thing, so they have proficiency on perception skills, which is pretty nice. And then shifting, so they basically take up a more bestial appearance. The transformation lasts for 1 minute or until they die, or until they revert as back to their normal form as a bonus action. When they shift, they gain temporary hit points equal to their level plus their constitution modifier, minimum of 1. And they gain additional benefits that depend on their subrace, which we'll get into in a moment. And once they shift, they cannot do so until they finish. They cannot do so again until they finish a short or long rest. So, no limitation there, nothing too fancy. For languages, they can speak, read, and write Common. Just straight up, just Common. Which I think it might be the only race that only has 1 language to them. I guess you could say Kenku have no languages, but they can read and write in certain languages, so you've still got that. And then for sub-races, they have the Beast Hide, the Longtooth, the Swift Stride, and the Wild Hunt. So the beast hides are things like bears and boars and other creatures that are generally known for being pretty sturdy and tough, so you might even have things like elephants in there, I guess. Their constitution score is increased by 2, so they're pretty much, oh hey, I am beefy, I am, pretty fierce and strong. That they have a tough trait, which gives them proficiency in their athletic skill. That's pretty nice, not going to lie. And then their shifting feature is whenever they shift, they gain 1d6 additional temporary hit points while they're shifted, and they also gain a +1 to their +1 bonus to their AC, which is pretty nice because it's like, yeah, I sort of have shield, but I sort of don't. It's sort of like this natural hide that's a bit thicker. I really enjoy that. Longtooth are meant to be like fierce and aggressive. They're generally like dogs, but they might be something like hyenas or tigers. Saber-toothed tigers, I guess. Just anything in that sort of situation that takes your fancy. Panthers, maybe. Just predators in general. So they have a strength score that increases by 2. They have proficiency in the intimidation skill. And finally, their shifting feature. While shifted, you can use your elongated fangs to make an unarmed strike as a bonus action. If you hit with your fangs, you can deal piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. So it's like, instead of punching, I can bite you. So, it's pretty fun. It's sort of similar to the Lizard Folk's Bite, except the Lizard Folk have to do that as an action, and they have like a once per, I think it's long rest, actually it might be short rest, bonus action bite. So it's pretty nice to see it differentiated further from that. Then again, you also get healing off the Lizard Folk ones, so take that as you will. Swift Stride are like things like cats, possibly rabbits as well, very fast-moving type creatures. As such, their dexterity and charisma scores both increase by 1. They're graceful, which gives them proficiency in the acrobatic skill. They have a Swift Stride feature, so the Swift Stride gets Swift Stride. It's probably not funny to anyone else, but I just find that a little bit funny. Their walking speed increases by 5 feet, so they're kind of like a wood elf there with a 35 feet base movement speed, which is pretty nice. And then finally, their shifting feature. Their shifting feature, while shifted, your walking speed increases by 5 feet. Additionally, you can move up to 10 feet as a reaction when an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of you. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. That is amazing. So it's like, whoa, 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 you're too close. I'm backing away now. Backing away. And they can't react to that. You just move away from them, and that's it. But it's a once per round thing because it does require reaction. So that's pretty nice. And then finally we have the Wild Hunt. So for the Wild Hunt, their wisdom score increases by 2. They have the natural tracker feature, which gives them proficiency in survival skills, which is pretty fun, I will admit. It sort of plays into, maybe they're sort of like wolves or very bloodhound-esque type things, especially when you've got things like Mark the Scent, which as a bonus action, you can mark one creature you can see within 10 feet of you. Until the end of your next long rest, you have proficiency. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check that you make to find the marked target, and you always know the location of the creature if it is within 60 feet of you. You can't use this trait again until you finish a short or long rest. So that is pretty fun, I'm not going to lie, which is what makes me think that it might be sort of like a bloodhound or a wolf or something with very sensitive smell, and, with very keen smell and all of that, so take that as you will. And then finally, their shifting feature is pretty plain, but I can sort of understand that because Mark the Scent is pretty fun. So while shifted, they have advantage on wisdom checks. Which I guess you could also tie that back into, oh hey, they're pretty good at perception, and they can track things, and, they're pretty good with survival, so it all ties together in one nice little bundle there. So, cheers for watching. That's all there is on the shifters. If you enjoyed them, let me know. If not, also let me know. Tell me how I can improve. Share your own thoughts below if you want to. Subscribe if you want anything more from me, though I suspect most of you won't. And cheers. I might see you next time. Bye.